Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast.
Well, hello again. Ken and Michelle along with you. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
We
How are you
here,
doing?
and you're there.
Yeah, somewhere. Something that I didn't realize was going to happen when we did the podcast was being able to see where everyone's listening from.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we have over 30 places all over the United States and actually in Europe too that are listening.
If you were young enough, you may remember the TV show Romper Room. You probably don't remember. But as a kid, Miss Nancy, who is the teacher, would look through a little glass and I see where you are.
That's not creepy.
And she'd call out your name. And one time she said, I see where you are, Ken. I'm like, ah! We don't have that power.
No, but we can tell you a way to find us. Mm-hmm. And one of those ways, you like that segue, is Facebook. We started a Facebook page, the Resilient Parenting Podcast. And it's a great place to not only get updates about the podcast, but also that's also a place where we're going to be sharing different resources that we're sharing on the podcast, as well as, we have different resources that want to share directly to that group. So we're also going to have opportunities for you all to share things that you're thinking about. And so it's just going to be a great addition to our community that we're creating here.
We're on Instagram also.
We are on Instagram. It's not quite as interactive as Facebook, but definitely you can find us on Instagram. And we're moving into lots of different ways to find us on different streaming apps. So it's all very exciting. And we just really want to say thank you for your support. And if you like what you're hearing, please share, give us some stars and maybe some reviews. We're just starting this off, so it'll be important to get that support from those that are listening.
And now, as they say in the movie world, a preview of what's coming up for this episode.
Well, what we're going to talk about today is actually expanding from what we talked about last time. And so we're going to learn a little bit more about that and dig a little deeper. Mm-hmm. And so if you haven't listened to the first the 101 parenting podcast, you're going to need to go back to get to review everything that we're going to be talking about today. And if not, it's okay. We'll catch you up. But I also remember that I gave everyone some homework, including you, Ken. So we're going to check in on that too.
Bum, bum, bum. Stick around.
Okay, well, welcome back. So last week we talked about our bodies as an engine. And so one of the things, we'll do a quick review, but one of the things that I asked was for everyone to just kind of do throughout the week, just do an engine check, like see how you're doing. And I thought it was very interesting this last week because even though I do this a lot with what my work, it was just amazing how many examples I saw of what we talked about. Mm-hmm. And I know you specifically had some different things happen to you. So I wondered if you would share a little bit about what you experienced.
You're talking about when I ran out of gas? My oil was running low. Check the dipstick. No, don't. Yeah. Well, just what happened to me this past week. A dear friend of mine passed away, and that affected me deeply. I really found myself getting down into the doldrums and actually having some issues with gathering my thoughts. And I think maybe in reference to what we were talking about last time, I was down in a certain color zone, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What color would that have been?
I think from what I remember from last time, that would be the blue zone.
Yes, that is
deep,
correct.
Deep, dark blue.
And what did you experience in your body?
I would say a bit of depression, possibly. Lethargy. I just confusion in my head as to what I was trying to put my thoughts together.
And you were feeling kind of disconnected from your body.
I did, yes,
Yeah.
I did.
And so, and there were even moments where you said, I feel like I need to cry, but I can't. And so what are some things that we talked about that you could do instead to get some of that energy out that you were experiencing?
Well, you were telling me some things to do, like maybe doing a little bit of working out, some weights or something like that. Maybe even, since it was a rainy day, stepping out into the cold rain, onto the cold water on the porch barefoot, and it would shock your system or something, or take a shower with the cold water at the end.
Yeah.
And actually, I used to do that because that was a James Bond trick.
Oh my goodness.
In the James Bond books, he would start out every morning taking a nice hot shower, then finish it cold because it would make him back to his senses.
All right. Well, you know what? There is truth to that. So
And I also went out and played on my drum set for a little while.
you did.
And that did help a lot. It did help a lot. Yeah. And it got me up from the blue maybe to more of a green, maybe?
You know,
Teal?
you were pretty low where it was really impacting you physically. And so, it's okay to feel sad and, you're grieving your friend, but it was getting past that with how your body was reacting to it. And so it was really trying to just get you up just a little bit so that you weren't so low that it was impacting your health and how because you still needed to function. And so, yeah, you tried some different things and it helped. And we're going to talk more about that. But I'm curious how everyone else did. And if you maybe are still trying to play catch up, that's something that you can continue to do. And, it takes practice because most of us, I will say for me, I lived in the world outside my body most of the time until I started to really understand it and be able to then notice. That's when I was able to say, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And if I don't do something about it, then it's going to turn out not so great for me and for anyone that's around me. So
And if we had young kids here with us at the time, I can imagine trying to deal with like a 3 or 4 year old with the way I was feeling.
Oh, you wouldn't have been able to.
No.
And let's take it even one step further from that. What if you were a single parent and you were the only adult to take care of that child?
Yeah.
And then think about how you were feeling. I mean, there was a while there where you were laying on top of the bed just completely immobilized. And it makes sense for what you were experiencing, but then you think you just take those little extra, like being single, even if a lot of families that are two-parent families, they're having to work multiple jobs. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of factors that go into it. So being able to recognize that, and you were able to do something about it. If you didn't have that information, you could have been like that for a while. And then if you had kids, that would have, you do have kids, but not a
young
3-year-old.
kids,
yeah. You wouldn't have been able to respond in the way that you would want to.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And we had talked about that before we started this podcast today, because we just really wanted to share that, because I think it's important to hear, in the moment, things that are happening, even with us, to be able to then go, okay, I've experienced that too, or this is normal, just to normalize it a little bit for everyone. And so I really appreciate you sharing.
I don't think you always realize what's happening to you during something like that, when something really affects you that deeply, how much it does kind of put you out of business, basically. And you end up just lying on top of the bed, just like you're just vegging out. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk more about that. So just, if it's okay, we're going to do just a really quick review. And so last time we talked about our bodies as an engine, and that it's basically like the state of alertness. So when you're running high or hot, what color is that?
That is red.
Red. And we'll go into characters in just a minute, but okay, so high hot is red, and that's when you have a lot of energy, or it could be that you're just so agitated that you're seeing red. And then we have low. And that color would be blue. And that would be kind of what you were experiencing, where your energy is so low, or you've basically just like turned off, shut down kind of thing.
Is there anything lower than blue? Is it like dark blue?
You can have whatever color you want.
Yeah.
You were definitely in the lows of the blue for sure. And then just right would be green, and that's right there in the middle where you're feeling pretty okay. You're calm and being able to access, your thinking. Part of your brain, and emotions are pretty in check. So then we also talked about, this is something you can use with your kids. So red would be, we talked about Winnie the Pooh. So red would be
Winnie.
red.
Oh, Tigger.
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 Yes, red is Tigger.
Tigger's bounce.
And just think about how much he bounces around and has a lot of energy. And then blue would be, of course,
I've forgotten.
Eeyore.
Oh, that's right, Eeyore.
Yeah, Eeyore
So
would have
blue.
been hanging out with you yesterday. And then just right would be
Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Green Pooh.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say that I've had some listeners write in and say how their takeaway was green poo. So thank you, Ken.
You can tell we're pet owners.
Oh, too soon. Okay, so this week we're going to add a color and a character. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, we're going to add the color yellow.
Okay.
And yellow in Winnie the Pooh would be rabbit.
Rabbit?
Rabbit. Do you
I was
remember?
going to go Roo, maybe.
Oh, Roo.
Roo.
Okay, so let me describe what yellow would be.
Okay.
And then you picture rabbit.
Okay.
Okay. Frustrated. Worried. And when I think of rabbit, he's worried about his garden.
Oh,
He's
okay.
always fussing about something, right?
I think so. I haven't watched.
It's been a while
watched
since
Pooh.
you watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I like about yellow is because yellow is basically like a door to red or blue. So if you can catch it in yellow, then you might be able to avoid going into the blue or into the red, because you might be getting frustrated, or you might be thinking about things. And I know for me, when I start to think about things, it impacts my sleep, because 1:30 in the morning seems like a good time to think about all the things that I can't do anything about in that moment. I'm sure there's lots of people who can relate to that. But yellow is like where you're worried, you're frustrated, whatever it is. And so that could turn into, like with overwhelming stress, it could go into the blue, where the worry can move you into shutdown, not being able to access your thinking and reasoning part of your brain.
Okay.
Or it could move into red with the overwhelming stress and the frustration. And the red could be like panicked, anger, you name it. And so can you see how that would, yellow is kind of like the
Caution light.
definitely caution. And in fact,
Slow down.
and do a body check.
Yeah.
And you can notice it in your body. And we're actually going to expand a little bit on that. We talked about that last time, but we're going to expand a little bit more, and on some of the interventions that we can do to help us. So we're going to talk about the stress cycle today as well. So when you're in the state of blue and red and yellow, your brain goes into survival mode and your higher brain functionings go offline. So yesterday, when you were feeling very blue and you were having difficulty getting your thoughts together, and it was frustrating you, which just continued the cycle, it's because it basically was offline. Because what our brain is made to do is to survive. And so and it's good that it's like that, because let's get an example here. If you are in a situation where you're walking on a trail and all of a sudden a bear shows up, you're not going to want to sit there and go, there's a bear. I wonder what I should do. No, your body is immediately into the survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's so many things that go on that we can talk about. Like your heart rate goes up,
Right.
your blood pressure, all of those things, things, and also things shut down, like your digestion slows down. You're not going to need to digest your food in that moment because you're going to need all of that. I can already see you thinking of things to say about that, but you're not going to be needing that right then.
There's something
to
else
survive.
is going to be happening instead.
Why do you have to always bring it back to that? But okay, so if you're in that moment, your body is reacting and is preparing for survival. So you're not going to want to have the cognitive part of your brain going, let me think about what would be the best plan. No, you're going to like either prepare to fight or you're going to prepare to flight or also run to protect yourself, or you may go into freeze if you have no other alternative. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens is sometimes things that maybe aren't necessarily a survival situation can, your brain doesn't necessarily know the difference in the moment. It just knows I have to survive. And then, when you look around, you can go, okay, I'm not being chased by a bear. That was actually a bush. Or in my situation, I get that way about snakes. I'm really scared of snakes. Not that snakes are going to hurt me. Not all
Poisonous
of them.
ones will.
Yes, you are correct. But I have that same fight, flight, freeze reaction to sticks that look like snakes. And if I think that I saw a snake, every stick from then on, I am on alert. My body's on alert. It's just the way that our bodies are made, which is really cool to think about. Yeah. I mean, you told me once about how you found a snake when you moved something in the yard, and I can't move any like rocks or anything without thinking about a snake now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my body is
I don't like
prepared.
snakes either.
So let's go back to the colors really quick and how our body reacts to it. So when we're in the green, we're feeling safety. We're able to connect. We're grounded, mindful. We're calm. We have the ability to relate and connect. Our digestive system has increased. Our need to connect has increased, and our defensive responses have decreased. But when we're in the yellow and red, or we're in flight, our blood pressure, our heart rate increases. Our oxygen circulation to vital organs increases, and our relational ability to relate decreases, and our immune responses decrease. Now hold on to that thought.
Okay.
Because now we're going to go into freeze. Freeze is something where you can't fight. You can't run away. We see this a lot with sexual child abuse or in situations like that where you can't fight. And so you go inward. And so you see you feel trapped. You check out, hopelessness, going through the motions, disassociation would be another way of just kind of like going inward, and that's also the way that your brain protects you from experiencing all of this. So there's a decrease in your heart rate and your blood pressure. Your social behavior attunement decreases. Your immune responses decrease. And so
what do you mean by immune responses?
So your immune system, what keeps you healthy, what keeps you from fighting things. So this is really important to note, because one thing that we know is that the more stress and the more that you're in the red and the blue, I know last week we said about being problematic if you're there too long, it's because it has an impact on your health. And so if you are there too long, and your body, the more that you're there, it becomes like a muscle that becomes stronger. It'll be the first reaction until you can go, okay, I'm safe. And then you can bring it back to green. But it has an impact on your body. It has an impact on your health. And so, a lot of people who are dealing with a lot of stress, they start to notice I'm getting sick more often. I'm not feeling well. I'm having headaches, whatever it is. And so it's just something to just keep in mind. And the reason why we talk about this with caregivers is because it's important for you to know what is happening with you. So then you will be able to help your child,
Right,
because
right.
they're also experiencing this. They're not going to be able to do this on their own. They need you.
And conversely, a lot of times the kids can cause that stress, that buildup also.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah. So you have to know how to
Guaranteed.
deal with it on that level also.
Yes, guaranteed. And the thing is not everyone's been on an airplane, so I'm just going to explain it really quick. When you're on an airplane, one of the things that they say in the beginning is to make sure, if you need to have your oxygen mask in a case of an emergency, that you put it on yourself before you help your child or someone that needs help.
Right.
And some people are like, why wouldn't I help them first? Why am I helping myself first? What do you think to that?
Because if you're not careful about maintaining your own oxygen level, then you're not going to have the full capacity to be able to help them afterwards.
Yeah. What will actually happen if you don't take care to put yours on first is you might pass out.
Yeah.
And then you're not able to help them at all.
Right.
They need you. And so you have to take care of yourself first before you can help them. And it's the same concept with this. Taking care of yourself, noticing what's happening in your body, and then having some interventions to help you get back to the green is not just helping you, but it's helping your kids.
Right.
And I know that a lot of parents that I work with, they put themselves on the back burner. And they say, oh, I don't have time to worry about me. I don't have time to take care of me because I have too much going on, which is true. They do have a lot going on. And I need to focus on my children. If you don't take time to focus on yourself, you are going to be sick. You're not going to respond the way that you want. And it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And so it's important. It's actually like taking care of yourself is putting the kids first by taking care of yourself. Does
Very
that
good.
make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So let's talk really quick of some interventions. So we talked about some last week, and I just want to expand a little bit on that. So we talked about, like, if you're in the blue, to eat something sour. Well, really what that's doing, and like how you took the cold shower and I said to go outside, all of that, to get, it's to jumpstart your nervous system.
Right.
Because when you're super low, and I've been there myself, it's basically just like walking around in a shell of a person. And it like so low that you just can't get the energy to find joy, to find anything. Like you're just kind of just there. And so to be able to do something that kind of jump starts is really important. And then the red, the sweet, you can also have crunchy and spicy. All of those can help kind of soothe and kind of bring down some of the high and hot energy that you're feeling to get you back.
What
to
about
a more-
chocolatey? Does chocolatey work also?
Did you say chocolatey?
Chocolatey. Yeah. Chocolatey.
Yes. You know what? I just realized.
What?
Maybe that's why you like the Easter chocolate bunnies. You always crunch what?
The ears?
The ears, because it's the crunchy part.
No, it's because of feeling of power. I bit off its ears. Take that, bunny.
Oh my goodness.
I like the sound. I actually do like the sound. The crunch.
That went dark so fast.
Dark
wasn't
bunny-
it?
dark chocolate.
Dark. Yeah, you do like dark chocolate. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. So, yes. But you seek that. That's something that you like, the sweetness, the crunch, all of
Yep,
that.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Some other things that you can do. Again, we talked about there's some grounding activities like breathing. There's lots of meditations that you can find for free on YouTube and other places. Connection with others is so important. Splashing cold water on your face. You may not be able to go outside and put your feet in the on the ground barefoot, or take a cold shower, but even putting some cold water on your face or a cold washcloth can help. And then be proactive. Sleep is a superpower. And I know when we're super stressed, it's hard to get sleep. Or if you're so busy, you have limited time that you can sleep. But if you can prioritize sleep, it's a superpower.
Can I mention something? I don't know
Yes.
if this is on the list or not, but I remember, I think your grandpa talked
Yes.
about this. Going
Okay.
for long walks. Go for a walk.
Yes.
Because especially like if you're really stressed out or angry or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, going for a walk will sometimes kind of pull you back in a little bit, and it kind of levels things out for you.
So true. There's so many benefits to going for a walk. In fact, when I do coaching, sometimes I do walk. I call them walk and talks.
Yeah.
So that we're both regulating while we're talking, and even just talking and walking can help kind of get your thoughts out and figure it out. And there's a science to that. Also, being outside in nature is very healing. Just being out in nature. The example that I will use is how we feel when we go to the coast,
Right.
and we're by the water. Immediately we feel a calm. There's like the rhythmic, of the waves and the breeze and all the things that go with that. But there's science around that.
Well, what
nature is
did I say
healing.
when I was feeling so dark blue?
You were ready to leave and go to the coast.
Yeah, but I couldn't.
But you couldn't.
So that's why the hot shower followed by the cold, the going out and playing my drum set and things like that, just and working with weights, that it all helped.
Because one of the reasons why I suggested that was because you also had talked about all like built up energy in your body, and you couldn't release it. You couldn't cry. You just couldn't release it. And so, some of the things that we talk about is like push and pull, like pushing against a wall or doing something. So like you already do the weights. I'm not telling anyone to do like a new weight program.
They're light weights, by the way.
But, like talk to your doctor, all that before you start any kind of exercise program. But that's something that you already do. And so, like doing some of that. So that's that push and pull. And then the drums, that's just a great way. Music and rhythm is so regulating. And so that was something that you already do as well. So that was just like be more intentional about it. So those are some things that you can do to be able to bring it back to green. So there's the proactive, and then realizing when you're in the moment of like, okay, something's going on, and noticing in your body. I want to share really quick a resource that you can use. I found it online, and there's a whole training, and there's a booklet, and it's something that you can use in schools and you can use at home. This is really great for kids. It's the zones of regulation, and we will share the resources in the podcast notes. And it talks about the blue, green, yellow, and red, and it really is a way for kids to start to put the color. They even have different faces of like the emotions they may be feeling. And then they have some example feelings that go along with the zones of regulation. So just really quick, like blue zone, tired, sick, bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't have
Sad.
to be like depressed or something like that. It can be as simple as I'm bored and I have low energy, and the more that I'm sitting here, the less motivated I am to do anything. Green zone, of course, is like calm, feeling okay, focused, relaxed. Yellow zone, again, we talked about frustrated. Silly and wiggly is also in there. Loss of some control. And then, of course, red, mad, angry, terrified, ecstatic.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't have to all be negative. You can be super excited. And this is the thing, your state of like your body energy, it's okay if you're let's say at an amusement park and you're super excited, like that is appropriate for you to like have that. But if you're in a classroom and you're having to sit and be quiet, or, think of a different situation, or trying to go to bed, that is not the time to be like that. So that's when you need to bring that energy down. But if you're in a situation where you're all having fun, or you're at a dance, or, having fun, that's okay to have that kind of energy. The other one is out of control. So we really want to try to like bring it back to optimal green, and recognize that throughout the day, like we talked about last week, that it will fluctuate. There's moments, things will happen, and and there's some things are just out of our control, but how we can get our body back to that green state is something that we can control, which is actually a pretty cool idea.
So the object always is to go for the green poo.
Oh, God.
We bring this all the way around. See, I just circled back around to the... You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh. This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.